Welcome to the Talk About Purpose podcast. I'm Matthew Huey.
I'm Brian Harper.
I'm Frank Curry.
And today we interview Eddie Perales from the brand Dash for Him. We want to interview this business owner because he runs his business with purpose.
It's awesome.
And has had a lot of success with prior businesses and his new current business. I've known Eddie for a few years, and I've seen him build Dash for Him from the brand from the ground up. It has been an incredible journey and awesome to watch. Their hair clay and beard oil has been seen in GQ magazine. Pretty awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And it also cracked top 30 on Amazon. And if you don't know Amazon, that is humongous. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
They are on Walmart online and barber shops and hair salons across the U.S., Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Hawaii. Welcome to the podcast, Eddie.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for welcoming me.
Yeah.
One little tidbit about the Hawaii that one of our barbers there, he does cut Barack Obama's hair, and they do use our pomade on Barack Obama's hair. I can't put that out there as a post, but
Get the freak out of here.
He does use it, and they do like it, so that's a good thing.
That's incredible.
I wish I could use it as promotion, but I can't.
That's a flex.
Dang, man.
That's a flex.
Wow. All right. So Eddie, I know you're Puerto Rican. You were raised in Lancaster, but your parents came over from Puerto Rico. Can you tell us and the listeners how they got over to the mainland and why Lancaster?
So my parents were born, 50 and 55, and they were born in a small town in the southern end of Puerto Rico. It's right on the coast, up in the mountains. And their house, when they were little, they were super, super poor. So their houses had no windows, maybe some boards, and then the roof was not really a roof. It was metal sheets top of the roof. And they tell us the stories now how they loved the sound of the rain when they were young, sleeping. That can kind of help them sleep. So my father was always a hard worker, and him working in the little local corner stores in the little towns. And we're talking little of 100. We're not talking like a town in 15, 20 that time. So, and they come from really big families. All these older folks there had multiple kids. So my dad was always in the store business down there for the local guy doing little local thing. But my dad also worked in the fields down there. They did a lot of coffee, tropical fruits, and vegetables. So at that time, the town of Lancaster, there was a town called Conestoga, Pennsylvania. And if people really don't know, the viewers, there's a Turkey Hill iced tea brand massively up here. That's where Conestoga, the actual town, is. There was farmers, Mennonites, that flew down there and wanted to recruit people to come back to the United States to work on their farms. Now, mind you, the island of Puerto Rico belongs to the U.S. So anybody in the U.S., that's like another state there. It's not a state. You can go to war, but you can't vote for the president. You don't have representation in D.C. You have no say. But you can go out and cover the grounds for this country anywhere in the world for the military. And a lot of the military that's gone from Puerto Rico, there's bases there. They've died for this country, and sometimes there's people that don't know that place is like Maryland. It's like that island pays more taxes than some states in America to the government.
Wow.
But they do support that. They do support that island. Now there's a lot of corruption there. That's a whole nother discussion.
Corruption everywhere, man. Thick as thieves they are, everybody. You know what I mean?
The Mennonites went down there, and I learned this story last year when I went down there as an emergency, and I took my dad down to see a family member. He told me this story last year. He says, that when these Mennonites came down here to recruit people to go back to the States to work on farm and pick tomatoes, for living on a farm in a chink cabin, that the Mennonites told the farm owners, if you can convince the strongest kids to come back with me, we're going to give you 100. And my dad was basically pawned off and convinced for $100 to come to the U.S. Now, my dad was poor. He couldn't fly here. They had no money. He was 14, 15 years old. No English. No education, barely.
Wow.
But what happens was, what my dad seen was opportunity. Because over there, it was field work, education wasn't strong. And when you're in that box of the normalcy kind of fall into that rut of, hey, well, you know what? You just $100 every 3-4 weeks. That's good. But you don't understand because that's all you see. So you basically raise to that level. But in reality, that's not the right level. So my dad came here, him and his brother, and they worked on the farm, picking tomatoes down in Conestoga. They would come to Lancaster on the weekend. And they were there for a couple of years. He met my mom. They knew each other from back there, but they met each other back.
Oh.
And that's how my dad had choices what farm to go to, but he Lancaster area. And it's crazy on the side note, brother came up here and his brother was reckless and his brother basically got stabbed to death.
That sucks.
But it's something where, you know, that's the story of how my dad got here. The entrepreneur in my dad, which taught me everything, business side, came from him being young and working at these little stores. Learning how these old school guys were building their small businesses. And
Sounded like he wanted to break the cycle.
Yeah.
What it sounds like, which we talk about a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
the cycle is vicious, bro.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Very vicious. And it's crazy because, you know, we're here we're doing this podcast. And if somebody didn't have vision, this wouldn't exist.
Correct.
It's true.
The microphones, getting together, computers and everything. So, you know, sometimes when you got to go against the grain, we need people to be in that box though. We need workers.
We do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I believe sometimes salary is like a drug. And you're given a salary because we need workers. We need minions.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're in the box, you're given a salary, and you're taught that, hey, it's okay, work 9 to 5. We're going to manage you. But at the end of the day, that's where you're stuck at. Then you become dependent on that. And then that's where you'll never have a chance of dreaming or being a visionary person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And breaking the cycle.
Yep.
So that's usually how that happens.
To take risks.
Yeah,
what it
exactly.
is.
Speaking of risk, what was your first company? Where did you start?
So I was a really good football player.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I was recruited
like you
by-
already.
This guy likes you now.
Yeah.
I'm 6'2". I was 289. I was a defensive end, and I was a blindside tackle. And I was recruited by Penn State, Pitt, West Virginia, Clemson, full rides.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
Larry Johnson from
Wow.
Penn State went to McCaskey to recruit me. And he popped into the school, and our coach is like, hey, Larry Johnson's downstairs. He wants to talk to you. I said, oh, cool. I don't know who the guy is. So he comes into the school, and I say, hey, how you doing, coach? How you doing? So we're talking. He's like, hey, we want you to play. And at that time, they had Courtney Brown. LeVar Arrington was about to go there. Brandon Short. It was linebacker. He wanted me to play defensive end. I used to run a 5 and a 40 at 289. So from here to the sideline, nobody can get past.
Mm.
But what happened is that on offense, the blind side, that I thrived and I loved it. I wanted to protect my guy at all costs. I told coach, I said, coach, I'm an offensive tackle. You know what he told me? You don't get to choose where you want to play. Put you where we want.
Wow.
Like, we need you to come up to the camp. I'm living by myself. I lived upstairs. Parents lived downstairs, but they had my sister moved. Throughout high school, I was by myself. But what happened was that he said, nope, just show up. We got you. So at that camp up at Penn State, I was ranked 4th.
Wow.
The people
Damn.
above
Crap.
me, you know who was above me? Anthony Adams, Spice Adams.
Wow.
And these 3 other farm guys that went to the pros. I played against Andy Schaefer, that was a tackle for 8 years with Michael Vick in the blind side over.
Get out.
Wow.
He played at Atlanta. I played against Tony Stewart that went to Penn State, went to the Bears.
Wow.
And a lot of these guys, like Anthony, I can say it on this podcast, I crushed them.
Yeah.
We went to I was the captain of the All-Star team for our city, White Rose and Red Rose, and they started him on offense to showcase him because he was 6'6", 6'7", 250, and they put me at defensive tackle. I'm like, coach, I'm a tackle. Said, no, we want to put Andy there. I'm like, okay, cool. So I made it my mission to embarrass the guy every play, block him into the backfield. And no lie, 4 days into the practice, he stopped practicing.
No way.
He didn't play in the All-Star. He didn't play in the All-Star game, and I was a starting left tackle
Get out.
Wow.
for the All-Star game. So I was the captain. I mean, we got blown out at the game because it was a monsoon.
Yeah.
Bad up in York, Pennsylvania. It got rained, and it was bad, the rain. And the recruiters like Marshall and Randy Moss was there. They were there watching me. But it was my worst game ever.
Yeah.
And after that, some of those guys disappeared. Now they wanted me to basically go to JUCO, get not the grades up. I was struggling. I'm not a test taker.
Neither
So
am
my
I.
SATs were like 100 points short at that time.
Yeah.
So he said, listen, we got you, Penn State. rock out a year. We got your scholarship when you're done here. Come up. And I went to JUCO, lasted a semester, fell in love with my wife in high school, cheerleader. And I decided to just leave school.
Yeah.
But on the crazy, look at this note. When I sent my VHS tape out to recruiters, I was VHS cutting it by the numbers. I sent it out to everybody, old school in a manila folder.
I got you.
And I got Pitt, West Virginia. Yo, there's a guy named Pete Kalavich would call me on a Saturday morning. Hey, he's like, hey, what are you doing? Like, were you out late last night? Checking up on you. Because they wanted me to go there. They didn't want me to mess up.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, the guy that was our tight end was 6'4". He was my junior high buddy. And I introduced him weight room and stuff coming into high school. So on my video, we always had tag teams and stuff. And he became noticed.
Mm.
And throughout high school, he had so much God-given ability that he didn't have to.
Gotcha.
He got recruited by everybody because he was a 6'4" tight end that could run like a goat. He got recruited to Pitt. We went to Penn State together. So, but he went to Pitt, and the first semester he was there, he gives me a call. Year after, like, you need to get up here. You're better. I hang up my cleats. I went up to watch him at at Pitt. Larry Fitzgerald was with him I met his parents.
Wow.
And everything.
Larry Fitz.
We went down when they played at Temple and he smashed them down in Philly. My buddy was drafted second round by the Chiefs. He started H-back when Tony Gonzalez was there. He was like an H-back tight end. And he played there 4 years. And he had a stint with the Eagles during the preseason. And then from there, he went to Ravens. Oh, no, he went to the Chargers. He went to the Ravens. And the Ravens lost. I think it was the game before the Super Bowl that year when Ray Lewis had that famous speech. It leaked out. He was there. He was a starting tight end, and Todd Heap was there, right? So at the Chargers, he played with Antonio Gates. So he was, around guys that were perennial Hall of Fame guys.
Wow.
So what happens is he goes to the Ravens, and he tells Jim Harbaugh, the coach, when the exit interview at the end of the year, he's like, I'm retiring 8 years in. And he had aspirations to go to UCLA or be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And he lived very modest.
Yeah.
He had a Chevy Avalanche, making millions.
Yeah.
So he told him, he's like, listen, I'm gonna retire. He's like, nah, we want you to come back. We want you to start. We're going to the Super Bowl. He's like, I don't believe you. We're not going to the Super Bowl. Next year, the Super Bowl, they played the 49ers when the lights turned off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that.
I text my buddy. I'm like, yo, you watching this? He's like, don't text me. Don't text him. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll text you after the game. They won the Super Bowl. He went to UCLA, got a law degree, was at Adidas as an internship when they made the Boost material for the sneakers. He did interns there. He graduated 4 years, got his bars, got his lawyer's license, left, and then he went back to school to film. Now he's the head producer at NFL.
Awesome. Damn.
His name is Chris Wilson. Great guy.
Awesome.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
an inspirational story.
Holy
Crap.
That's a little off track, but I've been around these people and I've helped them, with little things here and there, and a little seed, and
That's what we're all about, helping
yeah.
people, man.
want to help people
we
lift
wanna
up
do.
and get bigger.
Helping them with their purpose and shit. Yeah.
So
Awesome.
what made you want to, did you always know you wanted to start a business?
So my dad came to the U.S. My dad in 94 worked in a lumber yard in Pennsylvania, building houses, truss, roof material.
Gotcha. Yep.
My dad got it into his spirit that he wanted to start a store. Since he was a little kid, he worked at these stores. My dad took his entire retirement after 20 and opened a store, 95. I was in high school. Opened the store without knowing in America how to open a store, but he kind of knew a little bit of groundwork. And I went to JUCO college. Then I decided not to play ball. My wife started working. I went to a community college to get my criminal justice degree. I fell short of about, I don't know, I did. I figured, hey, I don't want to bust down doors and get paid 20 grand. I can't do that. I'm not going to go to school. I'll just pay the loan off, whatever.
Right.
So my dad approaches me and says, hey, I need help with the business. I need you to come back and help me. So I went back to the business to help my dad. Father and son, we're going to butt heads all. I'm a younger guy. He's an older guy. We got two different visions. But in a year, our business at the time of we were spending $30K a product at a local. My mom was the cook, so we sold from about 12. Didn't get nothing. Like the soup Nazi.
Right.
It's going. But it would sell out every day about $2-3 grand at that time. So we expanded. I was racing and fresh ideas and all this other stuff. And it got very busy. We launched 2 other locations in the same block and a half. We had downtown Lancaster pretty much locked, where, you know, one was a 99-cent store. One was Ed's Grocery and Deli, which was me, was a sandwich shop with groceries. My dad was at his shop. Quick story with the Ed's Grocery and Deli. My dad had a partner, childhood friend. They had a falling out because of that is.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, hey, there's a place around the brown paper on the window. What that is? I'm like, no, I don't know. And a couple months later, we shut the doors of the business, liquidated everything. I said, Pops, come with me, walk up the street, walk around the corner, that door with the paper, open the door, rip the paper down, open. I was like, this is our grocery store. Let's go. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm like, I've been building this for 4 months. I said, it cost me $1,250.
Wow.
How? I bartered everything. Coca-Cola, you want that space in the first in the aisle? You got chip company. You got to fill this up 2 times if you want that. So everything was a real estate space.
Nice.
So I paid $1,250 and it was for a grease trap. Because the city of Lancaster, you need a permit to work within the boundaries of the city. And the guy hooked the grease trap up. That was $1,250. Everything else was bartered.
Wow.
And I said, listen, I built this. Let me be here a couple months and you can have it. Okay, cool. Some people came, Indian, to try to buy it for 50, 60 grand within 3 months. He's like, we're going to be out of work. I said, okay. 6, 7, 8 months later, I said, hey, I'm ready to step away from work. Wife was about to have a kid.
Yeah.
You know what my dad said? I said, this is you. Here goes the keys. I don't want nothing. Wait a minute. There's money here. He went and opened up another competition store around the corner, the 99-cent store.
Oh, yeah?
It became a competition.
Oh.
So, you know, I found people to sell it to when my wife was about to be due with the kid. We planned the kid. And then I went into corporate where with Frito-Lay, I was in charge of a massive territory to get back into the stores because the guy that was there got kicked out of a lot of stores. I had connections with all the business owners, so I was able to get in. So that's how that happened. So the risk that my dad took, gave up his retirement, triggered something that would never, ever, I would ever forget. This guy took his retirement, man. He came to this country with nothing. So it's like that triggered something that I don't care about nothing. I don't care about money. It doesn't matter. I don't have a lot of money, but money's replaceable. I almost lost my wife one time for chasing money in corporate America. You know, I had 50 grand in the bank and I was sleeping in separate beds for 3 months. And it was something where I was chasing. I had a tie. It was the corporate, you know, I managed 30 people and one of the top stores for 18th country when the iPhone first dropped. We're in that whole BlackBerry era.
Right.
So that
Storm, the BlackBerry
Yeah,
Storm.
so
I remember that shit. Yeah.
that triggered my dad's way of approaching things and taking risks. My mom is not a risk taker. My mom, she lives in a box. If she drives 20 miles in any direction, that's brand new to her to this day.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't like to drive. I live in Florida. She won't visit us. I'm to tell you the truth, if I pass away, God forbid I don't, she might not visit me. Because she's like nervous and anxiety like that. So my dad taking a risk has taught me so much. Because right now, if I don't make it happen, if I work 9 to 5, I feel as a disrespect to my dad.
It's a legacy.
Imagine the risk of you taking leave your country without English because I have I can make a better life somewhere. And he didn't see his mom for 20 years probably. He didn't go back. His mom passed away. There was no money to go back.
Yeah.
But that's where I get a lot of that. And I just continue to, you know, those businesses, we were in the corporate America. I met one of my number one mentors on how to hold people and get people to run through the wall for you. I was trained for 8 weeks in management advance for corporate. I know how to interview people. I know how to discipline people. I know how to hire a team, build them. And we became one of the top stores in the country. When them people got 3,000-4,000.
Wow.
So it's something where in my life, I sat with the 6 guys yesterday that are very close to me. And he was one of them. I haven't seen him in 10 years, but we stay in contact with text. He lives in PA. But I wanted to get them together because I'm up here for a short period of time and I can't visit everybody. And I told those guys, my guys, all of these have a purpose in mind. All of these had deposited a seed. All of these deposited at some point. Now, even though we don't see each other all the time, just remember that it's not from the heart. But the way I measure how to contact people on my phone, I go into the text field. And if you drop below the first page, scroll down. If you're not in that first page and you're important, very, very important, I make sure I text you. I do that every day.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So
Actually.
if people fall within a couple scrolls down, they're a touch base here. But the people that are core have to be within the first.
I like that.
And if
a
you're
lot.
not there, I'm like, yo, you've fallen onto the second screen. What's the deal? And then we bring them back up in that text.
Gotcha.
So that's how the relationships are with that piece. That's where the business stuff comes from, the drive.
That's interesting.
From nothing.
I have to start doing that.
If
There's so
I
many
was just
friends
thinking
that I'm
that.
like, man, I haven't talked to them in so long. I should drop them a message or something. Like, and I don't do it as frequent as I'd like to.
Well, no, I mean, we're in a hustle bustle. We're busy. But the crazy thing is that every day I take 10, 15 minutes. 5 minutes. Let's see who's on his first screen. You know, right now, a guy's like, yo, happy birthday, bro. He's in Florida down there. A dude that I text maybe, I don't text as much, but we DM on Instagram. And like, yo, happy birthday, King. Send. I'm sure when he gets the message, like, oh, I don't know where he's at in the country, but he's sent me a message. You don't even know what the person.
Right.
You know what I mean? My ultimate goal is there's a couple things. I always try to bring value to people with nothing in return. But the crazy thing is that I heard a podcast on a radio station. I was living in Florida, a table running the company, working during the day, pushing $4 million for that company. And the girl said something profound. I'm by myself now. Up here, when I was at home, there was a bunch around because I was here all my life. And she says, hey, after all these years, I've had to evaluate all my relationships. And if they don't bring value to me, I had to break that down mentally because I'm like, oh, this is that. Because when you rock with me, I automatically want to bring value to you and I want to help you win. Automatically.
I am.
So if you don't have that same energy, my website, if you rock with me, my website is your website. I expect you to be a billboard for me because whatever you guys do in life and I'm close to you, this guy, what he does, and I talk to people and they ask me questions that I might not know. I'm like, yo, guy, I might be 1,200 miles away.
Yeah.
But that's how I am. I'm a solutionist. So when somebody comes to me and be like, yo, I'm looking for this, I'm like, you know what? Matt's the guy. Or Joe's the guy.
Yep.
Or Julio's the guy who does car. Or this guy does this. He can build you a house. Where I support their business like it's me.
Right.
So if you don't bring the value to me, then you go onto the text field of getting a text on Christmas saying Merry Christmas where some numbers don't even pop up with a name.
Yeah.
You go into that field. And it's something where I want people to win so bad that sometimes it's a turnoff for people because they've never experienced something so genuine ever.
Oh, yeah.
They
think you're overbearing. Or
they say, oh, man, this guy's fake. There's no way this guy could be like this and want me to win. I want you to win more than breathe. And there's a guy, E.T., the hip hop preacher. That's all he preaches.
Yeah. Yep.
I love E.T. I get to the point where, hey, listen, I've been around people that I mentor around the country. Millions. I took a guy from a couple thousand to $1 million. He cuts hair. And I put him in Russia, UK to cut hair.
Yeah.
For 2 days, $5,000. I've done it. And what happens is the people really don't see the value. They think it's not real. But I have imagine you getting a job and they give you the keys to the building already, all the passwords. They don't know who you are. They hired you. That's all they know and what's on paper. And maybe a background check or a person from a prior company. I trust people 100%. I don't have time to build trust with. But what happens is I have and if you mess up, I can check you off fast. If I see an enormous amount of potential for you and value you're bringing, I will let you know, hey, listen. And a lot of times that person, I've hit on a couple and I missed. And that's usually how it is. I don't have time to build trust in people. I don't have time to choose different shirts in the morning. I got 5, 10 black shirts. I'm a big Steve Jobs guy. I love Steve Jobs. And I listen to him all the time, even though he's passed. He's one of our greatest inventors and leaders ever in this time.
Yep.
And he's a very no-nonsense guy. He's very basic, billions and billions of dollars. But it was a point where I don't want to waste time on nonsense on little because time is money. That's usually how I measure everything.
Yeah. So I can attest to Eddie really wanting to help people grow and become better because for all the years I've known him, that's how he's treated me.
Yeah.
Even when he left the company that, he didn't leave, but when you stopped being my representative at that company, he still would call me and check in and say, how you doing? Hey, how they treating you? What's going on? Look what I'm learning here. He wanted me to grow.
Yeah.
he was always involved. So I can attest to that.
Yeah.
And it's true over all the years I've known you.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing journey to be your friend, actually.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome that there's
it.
you're genuine like that and there's no ulterior motive, you know.
Dude,
You just want people to do
I
good.
get a kick out of people winning, man.
Yeah. That's awesome.
When somebody starts something from nothing and like they're winning, I'm like, wow, great.
It's hard to find people like that.
Yeah, I believe in karma too. Like you talk about putting good stuff out there without wanting anything in return.
Yeah.
I'm all about that because ultimately you're putting that good juju out there per se, and you're going to get that back. I believe whatever you put out in the universe comes back to you.
Yeah.
So if you're negative and bullshit all the time, you're going to get negative bullshit and be miserable
A black
all
cloud.
the time. You know what
All
I'm
the
saying?
time.
You know, I see it with my daughter's mom. She's absolutely miserable in the world and miserable. Meanwhile, I'm trying to be, happy and positive, optimistic all the time, and it comes back to me.
So
you know what I'm saying?
so for what you're saying is a lot of the times I measure everything based off energy.
Yeah.
I don't like
sure.
to waste my energy because then I can't be as effective the rest of the day.
Right.
So
You only
everything
have so much energy, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I measure it. I don't like to get into the arguments. Like I'm like, if somebody, and I've learned this in corporate America, I'm like, okay, cool, my fault, no problem. But they want to argue.
Yeah.
I want to cut the chase and move to the next thing.
Yep.
And I've learned this in sales, and that's why I've been very successful in sales. I can sell anything. The stuff I used to sell him and the other stuff from the electronics, I don't know how to work with none of that stuff. But I know I can help you be successful and sell value. So, and it's to the point where just say I got 60 calls a day or 60 transactions, and one of them I feel I'm not winning. Okay, cool. Later, move to the next one. Let's try to win the next one.
Yeah.
That's what I try. I cut chase quick. And let's move to the next one. I can't win this one. Let's go. Let's not waste the energy on this.
Focus your efforts.
That's usually how it is.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
let it
He's
beat them.
taken us from when we were with him, he's taken us from a couple thousand a year
I think you.
to over 100,000.
No, it was more than 100. I
Yeah,
know
it
the
was-
numbers.
it
I know
was
the
a
numbers
lot.
because I used to go and fight for at the corporate. I took his account. He was between 46 to 56 just with the products we sold to him.
Yeah.
His account in 1 year went to over 450.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It was about
insane.
456 in 1 year. And they were guys at the company were like, yo, how are you doing this? But I found ways of streamlining the process for him and be able to predict, forecast. And I was always online searching of, okay, what's hot? What's the next thing? Or what's a little niche that maybe there's not a lot of people in? And that's how I learned what I use today and how to box people out.
Yeah.
So on the e-com side.
Now,
Awesome.
now I want to jump into 2013. Something happened there that changed your life.
So 2012,
well,
I was a
okay.
big wig. Well, 2013 it happened, but 2012 I was a big wig with Coca-Cola.
Oh.
Coca-Cola hired me, and when I left AT&T,
Mm.
at AT&T I was a manager of like 30 people with about 3 other managers, IT people, and all that type of stuff. I left because it was a 24/7 type job.
Yeah.
I love the retail space because I like to create solutions. I fixed their customer issue that they had there years. It was from going to a restaurant called Texas Roadhouse, where it was a packed restaurant. Light bulb went out where I'm like, wow, this place is packed. And she came and the light went off. I went back to AT&T and I told our other managers, like, guys, it falls. I gotta close the door office and be out on the road, like out on the floor. We fixed the customer issue because now we were in charge of the process of coming in the door, knowing the customer's name. In the middle of the transaction, we would go to the customer and we would mention their name. And then they felt special. Store packed the people. And the manager came over and said, hey, Joe, how's everything going? Is he taking care of you? And then that would influence the review that they would get from a text message after the transaction when they left the store. So our score went through the roof. But when I left the company, went to Coke, in 3 months at Coke, I had got sick. My blood pressure was through the roof.
Right.
I was stressed out of working in a car with a desk in a car, driving around all day. And I was in charge of all the fountain machines in the town.
Oh my God.
I was in charge of all the coin operated soda machines in the town. So after 3 months, they let me go. And in the meeting, they said, go get your pills. We're going to cut your insurance off tonight. Here's a severance package. I was there 3 months and 2 weeks.
Wow.
I said,
Wow.
okay. My lawyer said, hey, just go get healthy, bro. I started to go into the grind. I lost about 120 pounds, working out in the morning, putting the kids on the bus. Lunchtime, go home, watch ESPN First Take a nap, cook, wash clothes, pick the kids up, go back to the gym. I was doing 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night, an hour on the treadmill, killing 1,000 calories each time, and then circuit training after for about 45 minutes. Also about 120, the pills for blood pressure taken away. But then June 2013 is when we were going into it. Prior to that month, I was connecting online with a church sermon of a guy that was our backup quarterback on a varsity team or on a junior varsity team at high school. And the kid had went from being a barber to a pastor. It was very influential. And I just started to listen to these sermons and stuff. And God started to work. And I remember around May 2013, and everything could have fell apart because I lost a job. We live in the suburbs, brand new house, car. My wife's like, man, it's going to fall apart. My wife got a raise after 3 months. You know, a bunch of stuff was happening that was keeping us there. A month or two before June 2013, I'm sitting on a recliner and I start to cry. I'm listening to the sermon. I start to cry and I'm like, God, I need you to push me harder. I got one foot in. I've never done anything illegal. Wife never did anything. Didn't attend the church, wasn't connected. So a month later, employed still, we want to go up to Harrisburg to the museum. And I wanted to go to Baltimore, Harbor. My wife's like, nah, let's just go up to Harrisburg. It's up the street. My kid was 7. I had another kid named Justin that's 7 at the time. Jordy. My kid cleaned up his room. Like, let's go. So we went up there. We're going through the different floors of the museum. On the 3rd floor, my 7-year-old says, hey, Dad, I have a headache. I said, cool, let's go downstairs. Maybe we can get some crackers. Go down. My wife goes to the little vending area. I go to the opposite side where there's I go back over and my son is in a table like this. Table. I say, hey, you good? He gets up crying. He's like, Dad, my head hurts really bad. His face was red. I tell my wife, hey, let's take the doctor. She's like, hey, you know what? Let me cross over to the bathroom, the hallway. I'll take him in there and we'll put some water to see what the deal is. But when I noticed my wife walking across the hallway, his right leg was dragging. So I didn't know anything about it. I'm like, hey, let's go to Front Street where the hospital's at, which is a couple blocks around. I go get the car. I come, there's a car in. I come in to the snack area. My son was laying on the floor there, passed out. They're trying to put him in the back room, call the ambulance. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm picking him up. Let's go. I knew the severity kind of, but I pick him up. I'm racing to the car and he almost falls out. He's not breathing. So he falls over and I'm like, oh shit, let me hold him up. So we put him in the car, buckle him in. My little kid's over here. I'm here. My wife is here. I hit I couldn't eat the first light because there was cars there. So we hit the brake. He hits the back of the seat, breathing in and out faintly. My son, I'm keeping him occupied. I'm like, hey, just look out the window. Hey. But my wife is trying to keep him in. Other son that was passed out. We get to the hospital. She goes in. I would go to the waiting area. They go into a room. And then about a half hour to 45 minutes in, the doctor comes and says, hey, look, we're going to put your kid with this nurse. You need to come back with us. I go to the back. I walk in and my wife there's a glass room and she's to the outside. I couldn't even see in the room from all the people that were in there. She's standing on the side crying. And I tell the doctor that picked me up to take me back. I say, Doc, I came here for a headache, bro. What's the deal? Well, your son has a brain bleed. We are putting him under life support right now. And Lifeline from Hershey Medical Penn State is coming up pick right now in a helicopter. Like, we just came here for a headache. Wow. What's the deal? But we get back there. I get in the room. I kiss him. Machines are pumping for him. Lifeline comes in. They pick him up. At that time, Hootie and the Blowfish was in Hershey. And the doctor tells us, hey, you need to go ahead out of traffic in Hershey for the concert. I go up there. I get to the hospital. The helicopter's not there. I'm like, what happened? Like a helicopter, me, traffic. I think this thing is zipping up here. So they land there. They take him through these back rooms. They take him to the 4th floor of the Children's Hospital, which is the first building there. 4th floor is the worst of the worst. Leukemia, cancer, kids that open heart surgery, 20 weeks old, born, but you can see skin. My son is in this room, 3:30. I was able to piece this timeline together by a post I made at that. I posted a chiseled in stone. So we don't see the kid. They don't let us see him. Can't see him. What do you mean? Like, gotta let us do what they put us in a room. They give you bad news all the time. A round table with 3 chairs. We go to this room and we're like, wow, what's going on? Doctor comes in and he starts asking us, hey, did he fall? Happened? Does he have a condition? I'm like, we don't. So the doctor's like, okay. You got to sign this paperwork for us to do this emergency procedure to put a tube in his brain to suck out the blood that's dripping in his brain right now, pushing it into the back. So basically, your brain is like a sponge, and the blood is coming out faster than what the recycling of the normal water. So the normal water in the brain, what it does is it moistens the brain to keep it moist. But now the blood is gushing out and there's nowhere to go. Now the brain is getting squished, pushed into the tube. We signed the paperwork. He leaves, and it felt like it was fast but as soon as he left, I put my head on the table to cry, crying. The kid was 7 years old, and I picked my head up. I tell my wife, been an amazing 7 years. I wrote him off, not knowing what type of work God can do, not knowing anything. I just said, I'm here, unresponsive. What are you supposed to say? Wrote him off. Doctor comes in, like, hey, we got a tube in there. With gravity, we're taking blood out, but we can't take it out too fast because it needs to produce the water to replace it. We got to go. And he's like, give me, like, nah. Okay. We see him about 8 o'clock at night. Well, first we go into a big conference room where the screen was probably like 100 doctors in my family, my wife, uncle that I next to him, which is weird. He's a Puerto Rican guy that's a Mennonite pastor. Well, it was interesting, right? He came and showed up, and the first thing he told me is like, hey, listen, I can't tell you that your son's going to be alive or whatever, but I can guide you through, and we're going to get through this. So they tell us, you see all the white spots? That's all blood. It shouldn't be like that. We're talking nickels. You can't even see a black spot up there. That means everything that's white is blood, and it's covered the whole thing. So we go and see him, and my son looked like he came out of a military movie. You could only see part of his face, the whole brain. They had took part of his skull out. Tubes were in there, and we were in some of the rooms that were the worst and the worst. It was two in front of the doctors that are there, 12-hour shifts. The doctors in there that are very crucial doctors, they live there 7. And they have a studio that sleep there. Yep. So a guy came from Philly. There's a doctor. He came up, and every time they rang out of control, they would adjust this and that. But a couple of days in, the day after, I'm a big Eagles fan. And me and my son, he was a really good, I was teaching him how to catch and running routes and stuff. It was very fast. And we would take pictures and stuff. And that day, it was late, and I'm looking at my son. I'm thinking to myself, but then I started hearing voices of, hey, you're going to bury your son. Then I would hear voices of, hey, it's going to be fine. Picture of him catching the football in front of my yard, battling. But when I heard the faith picture of the football, catching was getting it out the picture. So at that time, the doctors were very slim. They weren't. I asked the doctor, I was like, hey, tell me what the truth is, because our culture, we're Hispanic. We're going to go crazy. There's 50 people that were outside earlier today. Yeah. Waiting room. He says, well, you see that number there? We have pressure in our brain. When we sneeze, it goes up above a 1 or whatever. Your son is like a 7, 8, or 9. His brain's getting squished. If we can get him to Monday, he's going to survive. If we don't, he's not going to. That's what I need to know. Prepare myself. My wife was there. We were living in the NICU on a mat, on a couch. So we dealt with that for a couple of days. It took 3 weeks for my son to have the possibility to go 1 floor down and had the surgery, because the machine will be put on a bed that breathes, batteries. The guy that came in was a doctor, very short, and was walking around the director of the hospital all the time. I never researched the doctor. I do the work. Yeah. 3 weeks went by. He's like, I think we can make a run at it. Okay. He's the surgery. He said, we're going to have to cut parts. We're going to have electrodes on the brain to tell us if that's live or not, because we're going to have to get in there. He has aneurysms in there also. And on top of what happened was an AVM. AVM is an arteriovenous malformation. That's a ball of yarn, one vein that just, you're born with it. And the symptoms are a headache. And what happens is when you stumble upon this is if you get in an accident, they do a random check. Who don't get a headache nowadays? Yeah. That's a symptom. So he says, we're going to have to cut here. We're going to have to figure out. And we got another doctor from California coming in to put a little tube through his leg to see if we can shut this thing down. And when he said, I'm going to cut parts of the brain, my wife passed out.
Wow.
My wife was like, what? We're cutting pieces of the brain. We do surgery. It lasted 15 hours straight. Oh my God. He gets out, comes to meet us. And over there is like the airport, the waiting area. Kid's name is on it as a number on the board. It tells you what process they're in.
Yeah, it's called a grease board. Yeah.
Right. So he comes out with his scrubs. 15 hours later, he's like, bro, I think we were able to get to where we got to go. I later found out that this guy operated on my son from outside the crack of the brain from the tooth
Wow.
with live looking at the screen
Holy.
with tools on the outside. He couldn't get in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
behind my son's left eye, there's a golf. Imagine you taking a memory chip out of something.
Yeah.
Next day, go to Panera Bread in the hospital. Calls from, I'm losing the call because there's no sick.
Yeah.
We became very influential in this. My son opened up a Facebook page and got very busy. And there was people during those times that would hit me up from all over the world. My kid has the same thing. I got to talk to you. I'm looking at my kid on life support and I'm saying, man, occupied here. You think I should really got to focus here? And I'm like, you know what? Here's my, call me. And the tough thing is that on the first day, yeah, this and that, doing great. I believe in God. But 3 days later, when that mom calls me and the kid's dead, they tell me, hey, I don't believe in God. And it turns into our discussion where I have to explain to them and be nice and be like, hey, maybe your kid not living is unbearable if he would.
Yeah.
Hard discussion to have with people. At that time, I wasn't too brushed up, but I learned a lot. My son had the next day another emergency surgery with 5 aneurysms. Some of them burst. Part of his skull was out, so they were able to get in and out. That took another 5 hours. We leave a total of 4 weeks, about 4 weeks, 5 weeks maybe. We leave. We go to rehab, completely paralyzed on the right side. We had to basically, for us to get our kid from hospital to therapy over by Hershey Park, we had to be able to make sure he can take in a teaspoon. So we had to teach him. And then when we took the tube out of his mouth for the breathing, his throat shut down. Couldn't breathe. And he went through withdrawal for fentanyl. I told them, don't give him no medicine. Oh, Eddie, you're going to have to hold him down for hours. Worry about it. He was like a drug addict. He was on fentanyl for 4 weeks. Right? And fentanyl is what people use now. People overdose because you really got to know how you administer that stuff. Right? So we went to rehab. Rehab, we worked there from 4:30 to 7:30, 8:30 at nighttime every day. In the middle of the day, it was the therapist there. Beginning and the end was me, because I had people in Canada, Israel, Pennsylvania that were not on the books. Started to research how to build this person back up, because now that memory is out. So for you to go from A to D, he doesn't have B, C, or any of those letters in there. Now you got to find a way. It's a bridge with a piece taken off. You got to find a way to get there. Because that piece came out, that's the way it is now. If we go to a restaurant and he goes to the bathroom, he can't walk back to the table by himself to this day, and he's 17. So, but when he gets repetitive, for us to get him on the bus a minute from the house, it took us a year to watch him and continue to train that motion again. I'm home, take the key. I could be home, I won't open the door for him. This is the training process here. Key out, open the door, take the bag in, close the door, even if I'm inside. So he was able to catch that. But we were able to get out of there. We pushed very hard. People were really against us and stuff. But there's a short window for brain to repair and get that move. Once you don't get that move back, it's gone.
Yeah, you got to be vigorous.
Yeah. So I knew how to push. Some of the people that didn't agree with it, we were able to get out of there in 4 weeks, which was crazy. Some people cried like, yo, got this piece. But then even at the hospital, I saw visions of my back. I don't know when, back to that hospital. Or because some people kind of doubted us. It was on life support. I seen worse of the worst kids in there. In a quick story, there was a lady, there was 14 beds up there on the opposite wing. Crazy thing is I never walked that way. I used to walk out the opposite way to the main room where, people volunteer their time, volunteer food. I'm walking out and I'm thinking to myself, like, God, I don't know what's going on. I had a heart transplant. I didn't know. Right then with his parents. Fine, I don't know what's something. I'm thinking, man, I'm the worst of the worst. My kid's not even talking. He's on a coma. I get to the waiting room. Hey, I just saw their brother. Oh, his name is Justin. Now, mind you, a couple minutes before, I'm like, man, it's the worst of the worst here. I asked her, what is she here for? She's like, oh, well, we had a kid born 20 weeks. They're in hand. They're on the opposite side of the wing. Walk that way. I'm going to pray for your kid. And she's like, I pray around. But then when I'm walking away, I'm thinking, is the count of this lady? When I'm walking away, she says, hey, can you pray for the other kid? Daughter has 2 kids. One got itis or whatever. He was completely paralyzed. The only thing he could do was blink. We're in back-to-back rooms. So the mother had a newborn and like a 15-year-old.
Wow.
And I got encountered with this. And I started to cry. I'm like, wow, is my situation worse or not? When you start to evaluate, even if a kid's in coma, there's a lot that opened my eyes.
I think that definitely puts into perspective that, me personally, I definitely take for granted the health my kids have.
I should forget.
Take it for granted.
Well, you know what's crazy? Because a lot of times I was there 24/7. They wanted to kick us out to a Ronald McDonald House, but we didn't want to. Would miss. But I would be in this break room, look out the window, and you see the world going about their day.
Yep.
Inside, it's a war.
Yep.
And that puts a lot of things, wow, like we don't really know. That's why, approaching people, don't take it for granted, but, you got to watch. That person could be having time.
Yeah.
That's one thing I learned working in a hospital is that while you're there and you're not really interacting with patients.
Right.
I do IT. I don't really interact with patients, but I share an elevator with them, and they do have patient clinics in the same area.
You
as
can
IT.
bump into somebody just passed away.
You can literally rub an arm on somebody that just found out that they had cancer today.
Yeah.
So you just really don't know. So that's, I always try to do the good deed or try to put that good karma out there. So I'm weird, I guess, but every time I see an ambulance with its lights on, I pray.
Yeah.
I say a little prayer, like saying,
anytime,
please God, in God's name, this person's going to do well. In God's name.
I thought the same thing when
what
they put the helicopter pad in Pottsville and people were complaining about the helicopter noise. And I was like, instead of taking that 10 to 15 minutes that you're awake now complaining, why don't you take 10 to 15 minutes to pray for that person that might have to take a ride in it?
Not only that, what if it's you? Wouldn't you want to be able to get a helicopter ride there to get sooner to save your life from a stroke or something like that?
Until
you're saying that you're a shitbag. That's how I look at it.
Until you're in it.
Yeah, until you're in it.
You're not really realizing the importance of it. That happens.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to work in PICUs and NICUs, man. It's not good.
It's a war zone.
It's not good.
It's ugly.
It's
I've seen kids with leukemia walking around with drips and everything, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
little babies and intubators.
But you know what? What I learned there, and people after the situation, I helped build them up. I drove to Philly for 6 months straight, Monday through Friday, not a job, because the therapy for kids down the street 5 minutes from me was a nonprofit, and they had canceled two of our appointments because the person called off. I said, I can't lose here. So I decided to drive an hour and 30 minutes away with my son with brain damage, doing stem on the school kill all the way down and stopping midway, starting it again to try to maximize every single minute, every single hour, every single 6 months straight. We put 70,000+ miles on a Buick.
Wow.
And the crazy thing is I had to beg my way in there because there was a wait time. They couldn't fit in more kids, but it's just a part of, any dad would do it. But people tell me, I don't know how you did it. Listen, when it happens to you, you put your cape on and you ready to work.
When you're in the thick, man.
Until you're into the mud, then you hit that gas and you go.
Yep. Not everybody's like that. Not every man is like that.
Yeah.
But, more of the alpha male definitely is. So,
Yeah.
Good for you.
Definitely. I mean, hopefully,
anything for kids.
God willing, I'm never in a situation like that, but I know I'd do anything for my kids. So.
Right.
I have a 3-year-old, well, soon to be 3 and soon to be 16-year-old. So, I get it.
Yeah.
But anything for them. I mean, my daughter was having some problems there, and you just be there for them and you do whatever you can.
Right.
I just got custody of her 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That was a battle.
Yeah.
My goodness. So you just got to do what you got to do. You just endure the suck.
Yeah, I was holding my breath almost that whole story. I was like just waiting to hear. Yeah,
but everything was good, please. Yeah, so I'm like, I met some good ending, man.
I met some kids that didn't make it. I know kids that didn't make it.
Yeah.
I was beside a kid that drowned at 6 years old. Right, and the cops came in and had to arrest the mom and everything. But the crazy thing is, I saw the vision of my kid walking back there, and coming back to see the staff that saved his life. A year later, we go back up to that floor. My wife didn't know of when I had lost my job and I was looking at the pastor and I was praying about things not falling apart, God to push me more. And she wasn't seeing everything that I explained to you guys. I've never told her until we got out of there. But we go back a year later to that floor with security. My son became a spokesman for boards and stuff.
Right.
And we start to walk in, grabs my hand. I said, don't grab his hand. And walking in here, and I let him walk, and I just stood watching. There's nurses and doctors outside of everything. They didn't even know who this kid was. They were the same people. And when they see me and then they see him, then they start to. Now, if you are familiar with the movie Black,
yeah,
my favorite movies, where the guy is on the farm and the skin is put on the alien.
Yep.
My son is the same thing. It's the same skin, but it's not the same kid. And I was warned about this. That was a struggle for us because same kid that, example, like pizza with pepperoni doesn't like pizza at all. Or he'll cry and laugh at the same time. Emotions are wild with him.
Wow.
But they said, hey, it's going to be a struggle because he's director of the. At one point, when they wanted to take the tooth out after the tooth is, I told the doctor, I don't want you to touch him. What do you mean? He's been through 15 hours, plus another 5. He's 7 years old. That's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
I don't want you to touch him today. Have to. We got to take him down and get him breathing. Go the whole entire house. Doctor sent him. I think we should not touch him today. After tomorrow, 100% sure. So they had a meeting. He's like, guys, that nobody touched him. Honor his vitals, or we'll make a run at this. So a lot of decisions was always button heads.
Right.
Because if we're aggressive, you know how to hit the gas or take the foot off the gas.
Yeah.
There was sometimes we would go to Philly and go sit on the therapy table, and my son would be like looking on the ground, and I was like, hey, you all right? And the lady would talk, I don't feel like it. I don't want it today. And the doctor was like, are you crazy? I'm like, nah, trust me. Trust my judgment. I can get him to do whatever that I want him to do when he might feel like he doesn't want to do it. Drive back home, another hour and 40 minutes.
Oh.
So that's usually how it is. The entrepreneur of running staff and stuff is where I get that from.
Right.
Man. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's definitely a more leader, alpha minded brain
for sure.
that can take charge and knows where the directive should be.
And straight perseverance.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Straight perseverance. Like, you should have no question about your fatherhood.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
No question.
No question.
No question.
No question.
I approach business the same exact way.
Mm. Did you use that with Dash for him?
So in the hospital when he was in a coma, maybe 2-3 days in, I had told God, I'm like, God, like in the morning, we slept on a couch. I had told God, I'm like, listen, I need you to come up in here. My promise to you is that if you can save my son's life, I'm going to build something that I'm able to tell this. I don't know what it was, but God did work. The surgeon that saved my son's life found out that he was brain.
Wow.
He did about 20 to 25 years of school. And you know where he's from? Lebanon, Beirut, overseas.
Oh,
wow.
And I knew he was special. Highlighted this. He was always around the director of the hospital, the brain department, always around him all the time. Always were together. And he got this guy, surgery on my son, the surgery, running around with them. He must be special. So I didn't want to look up a WebMD and see what this guy's rating is.
Right.
I was like, it is what it is. I got to take whatever. Go ahead, let's go. Sign whatever. And then when we went to rehab, the brain surgeons don't go to rehab. They don't know who they are. That guy's way above everybody. He's too busy saving lives and operating brains.
Yep.
This guy showed up at therapy.
wow.
Where my son lived at, which was by Hershey Park, and couldn't get in the building. Didn't let him in. They didn't know who he was.
Oh my,
What?
Wow.
They called me like, Eddie, there's this guy out there called, Dr. Rizek. Do you know him? I'm like, let the guy in. He's a brain surgeon. He saved my son's life. Let him in, and he started to do testing because my son, when he got to the hospital, he didn't react to light. Dead. Light in the eyes, no movement. You're dead. So that day, he moving that light around. He's like, okay, this was now he can move. The eyes have to kind of refocus it. Bro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My son had a pair of Eagles sleeping pants on, and doctor says, I heard Eagles fan. I like the Eagles too. I'm thinking to myself,
Yeah.
I don't know. I did schooling in America for 20 plus. I like them. So I had made a promise about doing something to create purpose and to impact people. We became very good friends with the brain surgeon. Very good friends.
That's awesome.
Wow. That's incredible.
I tell him I love you, bro.
That's awesome.
I remember Thanksgiving when my son got out. I said, bro, thank you. I appreciate you for saving my son's life. You know what the guy said? I was in there guiding me, man. I found out he was a Christian at the time.
Wow.
And his parents risked it all to put him in school, to get him to America, get him to med school, and became good friends. And real quick note on the Eagles, we were in rehab when Chip Kelly got there, which was ever for the Eagles.
I remember him, yeah.
Chip Kelly goes there, Michael Vick in there, Michael Vick, D-Jack, and all the guys are there.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly announces Michael as the starter of the Eagles. And my son can't talk. He's watching it, kind of heat on ESPN. Chip Kelly has announced. I don't know who was number 4. got drafted. I think Andy Reid drafted him, and then he got hit out the game. The prior week, so they put Michael Vick. My son raised his hand. I had recorded that, and when I posted on, and it went viral. I get a call when I'm at the rehab center that was a nonprofit from a 215.
Billy.
I pick up the phone. Hey, this is so on and so forth. We're in public relations with Michael Vick. Hey, cool, what's up? Saw your son's video. We see he's a big Mike Vick fan. We want you to come down. Ooh, Michael Vick had, his situations with the dog and everything, but in the city where he came up in inner city, that's no, he understands he did it wrong.
Yeah.
But we went down. Hey, we need you. You need us. And we went down, opened the front door. We're there with the AP press. Michael Vick comes out. He's heard the story from my son and saw all the videos and everything. He pushed my son around the whole facility in NovaCare in a wheelchair.
No
Went
way.
in the locker, gave him tickets. Like, bro, you're in the front seat, bro.
Wow.
Anything you need,
Holy
we got you.
crap.
Wow.
Right? We met Brandon Graham is a very good friend with us when he got drafted from
Oh, I love
Chicken to
Brandon
there.
Graham.
Brandon Graham, I talk to
He's an
Brandon Graham
animal.
two times a week.
Get out.
No way, really?
Yeah, we don't talk about
That's badass.
football,
I get
my
it.
life.
Yeah.
He got two great kids. He's an amazing role model. Been in Philly all his life. He loves Philly to death. And when I got there, he's like, brah, I was about to drive to Lancaster to go see you because my barber was cutting his hair.
Get
And
out.
we didn't make that connection. And I'm like, he showed me the text, like right here. I was about to drive up here to go to your house and see you.
Huh.
And I'm like, oh, cool, we're here. So we went to all the rooms and everything, places where Michael Vick's like, yo, open this room up. It was a, QB room with all the team. Open this up. Where else you want to go? Open this up. We went to the locker room, gave us tickets when they played the Cowboys the next week, that Sunday. We're in the family area with Pattis. Whatever you need, you can hit me up. You didn't even have to do it. The article dropped on Thanksgiving. Vick and my son. If it wasn't for Michael Vick, my son wouldn't be crazy at because in the AP press writer, Rob Matty, a gentleman from South, he helped him raise funds. Head writer for the Phillies. Now he's in Florida covering spring training. Crazy where you get a connection, guy wants purpose. To this day, I've kept in contact with Mike Vick here and there, but his wife, he's reposted us all the time. And if it was unemployed, limited funds, and posting our, we wouldn't.
Wow.
So it's something where that's the stuff that people really.
Yeah.
He's not posting about the money he helped us raise.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the guy rock with you. You're an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Broke up the team. That broke their heart. They talk about that now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, we were going to games consistently all the time. We would get tickets all the time. Benny Logan was really good friends with us. Brandon Graham's still a really good friend with us. Oh, it's something where I've been to a lot of games. I stopped going to the games because it was tiring for me on a Sunday, working on Monday. But a quick story, I started taking the brain surgeon with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I
Total
took him
full
to
circle.
I
man.
took him to the game. He comes in from doing surgery all night, drove to Philly, goes to the game, and we're sitting in the end zone a couple rows up against the Redskins that day, Sunday at 1:30. And he's watching my son walk through this crowd. Bro, a couple months, a year ago. And I know that's what he was thinking. But he's like, yeah, I got to go get something to eat. Hungry. I've been in the hospital all night, surgery, blah, blah. I'm like, nah, I got to wait for this kickoff, man. No. We're getting the ball. He go get some chickies and pea fries from the kickoff back to eat. He comes back with like a hot dog with chili and fries, a brain surgeon. He's like, but the good thing is that we went to multiple games and there's people slapping him beer all over the place and they don't know who this guy is. He's a regular guy, jeans, loafers, and a button-up shirt. You don't know this guy is a brain surgeon. Beer splatting all over the place. And he looks at me, he's like, Eddie, best experience I've ever had.
That's
awesome.
That's cool.
I got a ball from the Eagles from when they played Green Bay. Michael Vick first played in as a replacement too. And it was a game ball given to me by the store in Lancaster. Game ball with a certificate. And I'm thinking, what do you give a brain surgeon? Guy got everything. Money, supporting his family, whatever. Brandon Graham. I say, Brandon, I need a favor. You know I don't ask you for nothing. He's like, what is it? I'm going to ship you this ball. I need the whole team to ship it back to me so I can give it to the brain surgeon. Did that. The guy in charge of the store picked up a glass case for the ball, brought it up from Philly to my house. I gave this ball to the brain surgeon. It was our number one prize piece. We probably got 150 pieces, affiliates, sign, a bunch of people.
Right.
But that was our top piece. I got game jerseys of LaShawn.
Wow.
I talked to LaShawn McCoy on the phone. when I was in MEPS, actually, I met a girl that I guess used to date him, and she had his number. She called him. She didn't, so I got to talk to him on the phone. That was pretty cool.
We had his game jersey.
Yeah.
Wow. We had game jersey. So I gave the surgeon like, hey, I'm not supposed to be taking things because of the pharmaceutical companies and stuff, but I can't let this go. Took it, and we still text each other all the time. The other day I text him like, yo, Justin turns 18. You coming down? He's like, no, you know what? I was supposed to go down, but I got some stuff to do. I can't go down. I'm like, man, it's amazing what God can do in you. Boom. He's like, hey, man. Our conversation ended.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
You know what I'd like to talk to, though? Brian Dawkins.
I've seen Brian Dawkins because I got surgery at their doctors called, it starts with our Rothman Institute. I got a shoulder surgery there. And I was there, and Brian Dawkins was assistant coach at the time, not even getting paid or something like that. And he was there because you had to go into the complex to go to Rothman.
Yeah.
It's the building on the left. NovaCare, building on the left. But I've met Doran Boss. I've met a bunch of people.
Awesome.
So, but it's something where I don't like to keep it football a lot of time. I just want to be regular and be like, yo, this is a buddy of mine, and we're doing this.
Well, their life is football, so I'm sure it's wonderful for them to.
There's sometimes with Brandon Graham where I start busting.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll send him a meme, and like, yo, this and that, and he'll just bust out laughing, just to kind of keep it fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Brian thought he was my favorite Eagle, and his daughter actually went to school here at Pottsville, in our local school. His daughter, his
I did not know that.
Pottsville,
I didn't know that. That's great.
Wow.
So he's been in the area quite a bit, actually. But I've never got to. I want to meet him so bad. I want to.
One
meet
of the
him
best safeties ever.
Oh yeah, yeah. The only safety to ever have an interception, a fumble recovery, a sack on the quarterback, and an offensive touchdown in one game.
Wow. One game. Oh,
yeah.
Greatness.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think they call it the trifecta or something like that. They called it, but yeah. Hey, Brian Dawkins, if you're listening, come be a guest.
Come on,
B-Dog.
We're all Eagles fans.
Weapon X.
Come on.
Weapon X.
Whole life. Never jumped off the bandwagon.
All right. I'm sorry. Get back. We'll get back on track.
So let's move on to Dash for him. What is the mission behind Dash for him?
So in that room when my son was in a coma, I said, hey, I'm gonna make something to repay. That was 2013. A year later, my son's 8. Get connected with the church, and I go to a funeral. 7-year-old kid died of leukemia. There was a couple at the church. About 50, 60 people. My son sitting with me. The kid was 7, my son. But the pastor was talking about impact that we have to make on this earth before we leave. And he starts to get into the spill of, guys, there's a tombstone and there's a date where and that little dash in the middle is very, but the amount of work that we have to do to impact people has to be enormously big for people not to forget you a year later. Sometimes people pass away, you're like, man, he's been different.
Yeah.
I want to be a friend that if you don't talk to me within 24 to 48 hours, you automatically call me. I'm that impactful. That's the way I run my life. It hit me when the whole Dash concept. The name of the company that I was developing at the time was totally different from that. And I lost some trademarks, and then it turned into that. And what happened was, throughout messages of pastors coming into church or online, there was little seeds that were implanted of words. I never wrote anything down ever to this day. I don't write goals down. I'm so crazy about them that I don't think anything else, and I can barely. I'm so into this thing or anything that I have, anything. So one time I heard they were talking about purpose. Ooh. Another time they talk about impact. Another sermon of another pastor. And one pastor from Seattle came and talked about being uncommon. Over in Seattle, there's a high rate of homelessness out. And they think, hey, look, man, God paid to do his work. So then I came up with the concept of, it was what we call Dash for him. By the bottle, it says, what matters most is the dash quote that I came up with that's on side of everything. There's a D that was developed by Texas. Dash word is bold. Dash. There's a 3-part mission statement, but then there's 5 dots. Everything we do. So what happens is live life with purpose. This is the formula for you to get in through the gates. Me making sure my dash is maximized. Right? Purpose. Live life with purpose. All of our bottles and jars now have the word purpose. Now, if I wanted to launch a skin line in the same realm, I can label a different color and give an impact. I can call it impact. Third one, live in uncommon. So with the 5 dots, and this came from a church in Baltimore sermon. There's 5 dots on front of everything. Out of the book of Matthew, food, water, clothing, shelter, and care is out of the book of Matthew. God provided that stuff. But why not something better than to do God's work and providing? Those 5 things, 3 statements, purpose, impact, and uncommon. If anybody lives their life by that blueprint, you're in there. Purpose in your life. What happens is, we attack those 5 areas, whether it's locally or global. And we've impacted a lot of people, thousands. I'm working off of a 6-year retirement that I've invested over $550,000, that I'm making $1. 2016, 2019, 4 months before I lost $100,000. Factory in Texas said, hey, meet your expectations and no longer work. Here goes the $500 you sent. The reason is that I feel in life, if we hit the ground running and we give out so much and we design something that's so up there, if we fall short, we're still better than a lot of people. That's the goal. So my wife had graduated with like a 4.1 out of full time, going to take my son to therapy at 6 a.m. at Penn State, getting him on the bus, going to corporate America and as a banker at 5 o'clock, going to college campus at night, doing homework for 4 years full time with a staff. And she's like, I'm like, yo, let's hit the gas. Go. Got you. But throughout this time, I was building up. So I did 2.5 years selling nothing. We were just developing everything. And the reason that I didn't own the formula was because I didn't have the $10,000 tell me, hey, this is what it takes to make this particular product. These are the ingredients, right? So when I walked away, I lost the money. We go to eat to celebrate my wife's graduation, and she sees me looking at the ground. I'm upset. I didn't want her to, her time though. People were celebrating her. So she says, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. We're good. So she's like, you're not eating. What's wrong? Lost everything. I said, what do you mean? I was like, the factory backed out. Hey, cool. She didn't know the extent of I was at home living $2 hot dogs for $1.
Right.
It's for 4 years. College, and I was at home. So a couple of days later, we start talking about it. She's like, so what did you lose? I'm like, 100K. And I said, yeah, we're going to fix this though. Listen, I made a promise.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks later, he asked me questions, business school. And one time we were up at 1 o'clock working, doing homework. I'm working on the business with suppliers all around the world and blah, blah. Hey, do you think about us and the kids when you make a decision? I was like, why? I said, because I'm seeing I could basically meet my mission about what the down never make it, because I'm investing 100,000. I'm like, nah, I don't think about you. I don't want it to influence me. Didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. Talked to the professor a couple of times. She was asking the professor at school, asking questions, but she would take that information. Professor's like, does he got any schooling, man? Actually, this is what they do. You know, the professor told him 100%. Awesome. He'd go to school. No, self-taught. Okay, you need to support him 100%.
Nice.
I'm in the office, old job, text me. And she said, hey, I was thinking, I got 10 grand. You think it'll help? I said, handing of the labels, 5 grand. Yeah. They just came up with the logo and I trashed their idea. I told them, hey, if I tell you your work sucks, don't get offended. I see potential in you. I can take you there with what I'm trying to do. So she's like, okay, half hour, 40 minutes. Okay, let's put our house on the line. I'm good. Okay, so don't bug me. I said to her, you put this up, get a lot of equity in the house.
Oh yeah, a lot of equity.
Also single, in the suburbs, garage, nice area design. One of the number 1 areas in Lancaster. I said, stop. If this doesn't work, I'm going to praise that. I'm looking for, because, okay, I said, let's pay for somebody that comes in there, praise our client that's hair product and beard. He has a beard. I'm going to take every dollar out and launch products and hair products. Number 1 goes to donate money. Later, comes through, they praise higher. Took the money out. I'm online trying to find somebody to take my project on. And I found a guy that was from MSNBC I called and I didn't want to pick up. Digging around, they want to pick up. I finally called and got a hold of the secretary. I go in there and I talk to them on the phone. I say, hey, we're looking for this guy. I called the guy. He says, yeah, this is what you're going to do. And I was like, tell me what each product costs. Is 6 products. He said, 10 grand per. I said, well, you want me to wire the money? He said, wait a minute. He said, I said, no, I got to launch in October. Talking 3-4 months. It ain't going to happen. We got to start from every ingredient. I said, well, it's not going to work between us. He knew what the purpose was. Boom, and what happened. I'm doing it. He says, listen, I'm going to send you the base. You and your team get rock and rolling. Do rock and roll. We did that. We were able to launch the company October 29th. October 29th, we launched the company. Product showed up in the tractor trailer, October 28th. Wow. And I never wrote nothing down. I never wrote goals down on the whiteboard. I had a whiteboard and it was empty. It was always empty. I was sick with the goals and the purpose of what I wanted to do. I lose sleep. And I think about my son's story every single day. At any given time, it starts and stops. If I get busy, it'll stop, but it'll pick up somewhere else. Every single day since 2013. But the mission is very, very near and dear to my heart. Where our first year, we donated over $10,000. We donated in Puerto Rico. They had earthquakes on the south end. They were getting earthquakes every 5-10 minutes. Nobody knows why. And within a week, had people in the ground that were living there that said, hey, I want to go over there. My company wasn't in charge of Amazon. I didn't have time to run Amazon. I was running $4 million on this side. Guys like, what do you need? We're going to team up with 3 other businesses. Oh, PayPal you the money. We were in a tent with FEMA. Wow. And we did over 1,200 hot meals with a food truck that we teamed up with. People were living in tents, man. Their houses were shattered with no insurance. Then people didn't have no insurance. They had no deeds or nothing. Yeah. Oh. And they were getting earthquakes every 5, 10, 20 minutes. A long time. They don't know if it was some drilling or what happened. So we did 1,200 meals. We did 300, 400 haircuts. We handed every product that was on the island of ours for free. We gave it back to them. We did 2 U-Hauls of clothing and we got all the pictures and footage. I have to publicate that because our mission is if you buy from us, we take a substantial amount and give it back. Yeah. Our number 1 goal is to give money away. Our number 2 goal is education in the hair space. And number 3, obviously, is profit. Well, I got to keep the product going. COVID, we handed out a bunch of cash. We shipped product to Canada. People buying stuff. We would give all the money back to people who were unemployed. They were in the hair industry. And then also during that Christmas, COVID year, we were always teaming up with a local nonprofit that took in abused women with kids. And they were in shelters for the whole year. And we would supply everything for Christmas. All they had to do was wake up and wrap stuff and meals. But the crazy thing is when I got the list of what they wanted and I was well off because I was working a good job, it put things in perspective. They were asking for a dress to go to a job interview. They were asking for the rugs you put in front of your tub. Wow. Or the cart to carry clothing. And that thing put stuff in perspective. My wife ran that part. And I'm like, listen, we teamed up with them with 2 years in a row and then we moved. I said, listen, how many people? They're like, well, here goes one person. I'm like, here, what's the deal? How many you got? It was all of them. And you know where the money was coming out of? Pocket. Our company wasn't profitable. 100, 350 in the hole. 150 burnt up. To this day is 550. And I have 0 retirement. We're talking 0. So, but the purpose thing, guys, we get back to the purpose thing. I will run through a wall. Nothing else exists. I remember one time in the mall, my wife tried to grab my hand to walk and hold. I didn't even notice. I wanted to hold my hand. At home, she was upset. Well, no, she's like, you didn't even argue. I got no time to hold your hand. I have no time to worry about me worry about you, kids worry about nobody. We got one goal and one purpose off the ground. Act as many people as possible. And when we're at that point, we feel we have made. I put handcuffs with us. That time, got one goal. Talked to me for maybe 2-3 more weeks. After that, she's like, you know what? Got an entrepreneur person. That's perfect. She's the perfect girl. Been my high school sweetheart. Still I love her to death. She went to college 4.2. She's managing 40 people. Was from a $10 million place, but it's a balance. That's the most important part. She keeps me grounded and she's on the opposite side and she'll bring up, hey, well, what happens if this happens? Or, you know what I mean? Because I can go off the deep end and just boof. So our purpose and mission is very dear to our heart. And we saved an urban farm 3 months ago locally in Lancaster. Lady was doing a fundraiser and she gives out vegetables and fruit to locals with no job, homeless. And I was looking at her fundraiser. I said, I was eyeing it from Florida. They wanted to shut her down. She was raising funds to put a sink on her property because it's her fundraiser. She raised $200-300. I tried to DM her. She didn't answer. I DM'd her personal account. She finally answered. I said, yo, call me. I know Sam. She knows photographer for us. She's like, I'm raising funds for the state wants down for health code. This is what we do. Like, I know what you're doing. I've been eyeing you. Says, so what's up? I'm like, well, how much money you need? Well, we need this. All right, cool. Close that fundraiser down. We got you. Hey, what do you mean? I'm like, we're going to send you the money right now. Like, This is what we do. Talk to Sam about us. Her and Sam are really good friends. I said, we're going to close the phone. We'll give you what you need. During the whole call, we're talking about our mission and our purpose. And guys, it's not going to be the first time that you have to go somewhere.
Right.
It's not going to be about houses. It's not going to be about that. The first time that I'm going to feel I made it is when I'm in Africa or South America, but I'm in Africa and we're building a water well, and that first drop of water comes on and hits that little kid in the face.
Yeah.
But our sticker on the side of that, and we're going to document this and out there for a week or document this stuff. I'm telling her this story, American born. Her dad is over there, and she giggles. I said, what's up? My dad has 2 farm plots out there, built 1 water well. He needs pictures. The water not completely done, but the first water well that's done, it's water to thousands of villages. Oh. And until that first drop, it's that little kid that has no type of, there's nothing.
Yeah.
We're talking water. And I'm sitting back watching it. I'm going to cry. So it'd be local. And we stick to try to hit it hard. And if it's got to come out of my pocket, they understand the mission. Very important. I cut, and if you can't go out to eat today. I launched a product. Last. Guys, we got to hold still for right there. We're cool. So I try to get them involved as much as possible. Some of the kids are younger, you know what I mean? They on PlayStation and Xbox. But I'm trying to do what my dad did and kind of look, okay, listen, when you leave this house, you might not be able to leave the same lifestyle. I'm trying to lay the blueprint out where you can come into the family business. I don't have to pay people to work, So the mission is right there. It's pretty long. So
I know you have to leave at 11.
Keep rolling.
Okay.
For an hour and
cool, we're good.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
So I have so many questions.
I probably answered a bunch of your things if you look at the questions.
You did. What got you into hair care products though? That I always was curious about that.
So in 2000 and it was probably, I've been connected to the hair industry since 2001. I used to own the 3 grocery stores with my dad, a barber in the city of cutting my hair. He did a drug deal while I was at the chair. Came back in, I gave him 20. I'm out of here. I'm not going to be in the middle. He's like, no. I'm like, ooh, I'm cool. They recommended me to a gentleman named Tyreek Jackson to the shop. He just had launched his barbershop. And I said, yo, your name is Tyreek? He's like, yeah, I need a cut right now. I'm Hispanic, so we're with hands. We talk loud, but it's a show of love. So he says, all right, cool. So I waited for a while. He cut my hair and he understood the story where I came from. And then he understood. So he didn't know I was a business guy. And I one time asked him, I said, hey, these barbers put the cash in their pocket. They paying taxes? Like, oh yeah, a lot of them do, but a lot of them just spend the money every day to get it at the store, drinks, whatever, snacks, whatever. So I think, no, you got to pay taxes, bro. He didn't know who I was really like that. So then he found out who I was, started cutting my hair. We were connected to a bookkeeper that was very, very well connected. The person that owned the building we were operating out of in town, amazing person named Chris. They were bars, buildings, person you want to do your taxes. So we got connected with that person. And the one day I said, yo, I'm going up to get some paperwork done. Come with me. Let's go to lunch. Let's go out there. So we go out to the suburbs, a massive house, out knocking. He's like, man, we're going to get arrested. I said, no, these are my folks. Go to the basement like this. There's a whole entire operating office. Here you go. Here's my bag. Here's my $50. All right, Tina, talk to you in a couple weeks. We go to the car. He's like, yo, what is people do our taxes? Get audited. They go with boxes. We make sure that we're correct with the government. We make sure we're on paper. When they get loans, imagine a job, taxes. You're a business person. This is what you got to do. So I got him connected. I became a mentor to him. Years and years went by. And then 2016, I go to his shop on Thanksgiving Day. He's trying to weld a chair, an old chair that they broke the foot on. He has an oil. I knew the ingredients that were cheap. So I said, let me get this. He's like, I'm going to put a label on it. Turned into almost a project, 2.5 years. About 2 years. Took it. I started researching nonstop. I was in the hair game, mentoring him. I had an injury of a shoulder, a collarbone surgery. Also, right after. What happened was I started an influencing page. The page blew up to 120. Then I started doing graphic work. Then I started doing logo. Then I started teaching people. I was making over $20,000 a year. I would have to wake up at nighttime and delegate work over in India and Pakistan for a minute. It was out of control. It was getting very busy. Companies were paying me to post their products on. machines to cut hair, booking system. I would just get retained. So once my product started, not towards the end, but once I saw the vision of where I'm going, I stopped taking money from companies, hair industry. He did a bunch of the R&D with us. So we got product in, we would ship it, and they would test it and give back feedback. We can fly anywhere in the world and somebody picks us up at there. I don't care if it's Russia. Don't matter. We know barbers across the country. I know people across the country. And if I can't talk to them, I Google Translate. I know people all over the world. We got into Russia for crying out loud. Yeah. It took me a year to get in there. Get him in there. In UK, we were in a bunch of distributing stores when I developed a rubber mat for people to put their tools on. I was getting it landed for $1.35. We had to distribute it in all the stores. And he went to UK to a show. They wanted me there. I said, I'm not the face of it. It was another company I had. Little, quick company to make some. He went to the store. He was on an end cap, his face. I never told him. He's like, bruh, I'm at the store at the end cap with the product there, and there's a whole end cap here. I'm like, yeah, we did that 4 months ago. I didn't tell you. He's like, what the? But it's something where I've never taken $1 from the guy. And I've booked him up until COVID to do events, making 30, 40 grand a year just for doing an hour and a half on Sundays. Wow. This is on a podcast. Everybody can hear it.
Yeah.
He's going to see it. 30, 40 grand. We started at 500. We got to 3,500 for an hour and a half of work. Airplane plus the stay plus per diem. Wow. Transfer from the airport back and forth to do events. We had him, I would put him on the road maybe 2-3 weekends a month. And there were shows that would want to book him and I would turn them down because I would be like, he needs that weekend off. He's been away. He would never know. But I took that into account. And they're like, what do you mean? You going to talk to him? We don't need to talk to him. I said that we're not show this week. Yeah. Then he did the Russia show. He was on the road at the end of the year to try to gobble everything up. Ends in a row. Went to Russia, big bag out there for 3 days. Had a translator, had a Russian translator, had a car moving him around, everything. We had to go to the consulate in DC to get a special passport to get in, a visa. We got him out there. And then the crazy thing is that when he came back, it was already 6 weeks. I think he caught COVID before it was Maine. He was in bed for 4 weeks. He couldn't get out. We didn't know it was COVID. It wasn't even known until March of 2020. I'm talking about 2019.
Yeah, I got it in 19 as well.
He was down and out. And nobody, overseas was big, but nobody knew about it here, but he was down and out. So I got connected through the hair industry through him. I've helped a lot of guys, big, small, and I teach them where, hey, if you cut hair, you ain't gonna make it. Cut hair, you need to sell product. You need to maybe mentor other people in charge. You need to do, maybe this, that. You need about 4 or 5 incomes. I was taught entrepreneur. Imagine you go into a sub shop and they only have ham and cheese and no fries, no chips, no drink.
Yeah.
And I teach them that concept of gotta strive to have 4 or 5. Don't matter what it is. It could be an extra 10,000. It could be extra 5,000, but it's there. But nowadays, inflation's, you know what I mean? You have to be.
Yeah. As an entrepreneur myself, you have.
Imagine if you sold one product on Amazon.
Oh, you'd die.
Unless it's some 60,000 units a month, which it ain't, you know what I mean? But it's just, you got to be able to offer
the fad will go away eventually anyway.
Yeah.
60,000 a month.
Yeah, because there is an actual arch to regular products and how long they last.
Yeah.
Not disposable or what's the word I'm looking
Consumable.
for? Consumable products. They're different.
Yeah. So we're in a consumable space.
Yeah, honestly, that's the best space to be in. After being on both sides, that's the best. Yeah. So another question for you. So you launched this. Did you receive any pushback when you were first deciding to chase this down?
Yeah, people said that I didn't know what I was doing.
Really?
I sat down with a guy in 2017 that was my cousin's cousin that was in this space in New York City. And I said, hey, this is what I want to do. I got a couple dollars. I need some help. He straight, I said, you're in work. I'm in this space. It's going to make you different. I didn't know the mission. I didn't even have the word. But I can go into a burnt building and I can see the company. I can see the millions. Yeah. I can see the impact. It's going to be a year from 4, 5, 6 from. I can guarantee I am still alive and breathing, walking and kicking. It's going to be way more than that and then live and breathe this. So I had a lot of doubts in our town. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mom, for a while, I'm like, hey, mom don't know anything. She's not an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But the person that I went to talk to say, hey, like a confirmation. I knew I had a confirmation, but I wanted to get it one more. Dude, launch it. This is what I got you. My dad don't know this space. I'll turn into 2, 3. So our launch party, downtown Lancaster. I remember, I think I invited you, but he was busy.
I couldn't.
We did it in a high-rise building on the 4th floor. For this event, I looked up the hashtag Lancaster PA on Instagram. I basically hired everybody based off of that hashtag to be an event for the cupcakes.
Wow.
I wanted to basically bring everybody in. Some people didn't work out because they thought I was BSing.
Yeah.
So we found a salon that is a very nice place. We're building with like 50. I went to talk to these guys. Hey, this is what I'm flying people in all over the country. I came up with this idea because the idea didn't exist. So a gentleman that I used to work with called Ross. I know we got this idea. I want to do. Got you. So he was in charge of a lot of the logistics boxes for us for this. And to buy odds, we had a rug made with we had water bottles with labels on it. It was just exactly the same labels, but for water. From the labels from the product. We had cupcakes with logos. We had backdrops. We went in there, took every single thing that salon had in there that had a brand name on it and took it out and put our stuff up there. When you walked in there, Dash door, red carpet downstairs. We had security guys with Dash for him shirts on.
Wow.
And then out lanyard. We made a lanyard 150, and we had one lanyard that had a QR code that was different from the other QR code. And we I had everybody scan the QR code. And if you went to a specific page,
wow.
And that's how I got people to follow the page, because the QR code that wasn't the winner took them to the Dash page. The one that wasn't the winner, I had to have an interaction with him.
Yeah, right.
130 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, which is crazy because the person that gave me the money and let me borrow for that event, 10,000, because I was on fumes. Rosax.
Great guy. Great guy.
He says, what do you need? I said, I need like 10 grand. I need to fly everybody in. I need to put everybody in the Marriott downtown. I need to get all this product, all this food and everything, and fly everybody in, hotels, everything, food, everything. Got you. How is your payment? Cool. Have the event. Go down to the Marriott downtown, the rooftop bar on the top floor. We never been there, but I want to take all these people. We have 30, 40. They don't let us in because it's overcrowded. Tyreek Jackson talks around the security. They let us in the top floor because we have a whole corner this is where our lock down the street. We're way up there. Shop the pizzas up. So we're outside with all these guys that flew up here or here from all over the place. And a guy comes with a couple, and I'm like, oh, we want this. And then the girl gets upset, the server, and she's like, I'm the server. I'm like, been here. I don't know. He's the drink guy. You're the server. I don't know that. And I said, come over here. Oh, she left, and my wife knew I was upset. Talk to her. We left it a wrong note there, and have a good time. These people for us. The girl comes back. I'm like, hey, man, I got off on the wrong foot. I said, we're all here. We just want to have a decent time. She's like, I'm sorry. I was like, I didn't know that's a water guy and you're the server, tag team server type deal. I said, but I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. I said, cool, whatever. I said, but what I want you to do is, for anybody here in this group needs it. Cool. They come back. We order 5 of every. Manager comes out. They set up a buffet. We shut down the whole half of that rooftop. This is a high-end place.
Wow.
Yeah.
The manager comes out like, hey, look, I said, this is like, I heard with the server, what happened and so everything's going on. I think some people drink wine, whatever, food's coming over the top. I'm like this. I kind of went to the right. I look at the first store, converted to the Fulton Opera House block, and I get emotional. It feels like I was at the bottom and able to get it off the ground after 3 years. And I get emotional. And there's a lot of commotion up there, music playing, or anything. But I hear everybody. I see them smiling, giggling, working and talking. People from different parts of the country came for this. Bill was almost 10.
Wow.
Wow.
Holy.
And I said, put everything, or I Ubered people from Philly. I flew people in that missed their flights and buy another flight. But it was the moment that was important for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, we had a Ukrainian DJ. We had a Philadelphia photographer. And they created something that was amazing. Video. And it was like, wow, there's no way this was in that little town. and you post it anywhere, I talk to people, man, in Manhattan and Hollywood. Our product has been in Latin Grammys, has been, a lot of places that are not really out there now because I can't really post a lot of stuff. But I talk to people all the time that think I'm in Manhattan or in Hollywood. I'm like, nah, I'm in a 6-foot table in Amish town.
Wow.
Crazy.
So,
Yeah, right.
It's crazy, but you know what? I try to create things, and if I don't feel the creativity of when it's even done, I try to do candles. We sold 300-400 candles when we dropped it, probably more than that. And down in Florida, I designed the label with the guy that does candles at the Disney Springs for Disney and all those folks. The guy hit me up and said, we want to make your candle. We want you to be the next big thing from this candle. We designed a label. I spent $750 on labels. When they came, I said, labels ain't going to work. Dude, you're killing it. I said, I'll put a QR code in front of the thing with no logo. Really? I said, make people scan. Go to the story. So we put QR codes on our bottle. You scan and it takes you to it. Then COVID came. Now everybody wants to put QR codes.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we try to maximize the label. We try to maximize all the space, and we try to tell a story. Everybody that scans on a QR code is going to eventually land. They land on a page, but they're going to land on a page that's going to tell you everything that's been done. I don't want you to land where you're going to buy.
Yeah.
I want you to land where the purpose and the story is at.
That's incredible. I like that.
Yeah, and those candles were amazing, by the way. God, I loved those candles.
Yeah.
It comes a point in time with a company where they want you to pour, but a lot of people in the company don't pour into you. So now you're worried about the details of that company and hitting that.
Yep.
And when you worry about the details of the company hitting a number, you have to suffer and over it. And then it affects the family.
Yep.
Then kids have issues where you're dedicating into the details of excelling at work. So the job you hate.
Opportunity costs the time.
Yeah.
It costs time.
And it comes to a point where I remember at AT&T, I left when I was making $5,000 back in 2008.
Oh, wow.
Because I was sleeping in separate beds. I was verbally abusive. I didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I took a 60% pay cut to change my life, to be with my family instead of being on the road and
listen, right
being
now,
home 2 days a week.
The job I had, I love the customer. I took people from 5,000 to 3 million in 2-3 years. Into a lot too. But the goal is like I had people that were old school that didn't want to pour in.
Yeah.
I hated it. And right now I lost a lot, but I'm at the happiest point in my life because I got let go. I didn't tell my wife for 3 years, but when I got let go, shower, got dressed, back up my SU product and started. I cut, once my wife knew, I cut coffee here and there, but it's not every trying to make it work. This note took my last retirement. I didn't 55,000 turned into.
Oh, yeah, because they like to take their cut, obviously.
I took every dollar out. We're at zero. We're below zero because I still owe taxes from last year. But we're gonna launch a texture powder. Not gonna give out a little doesn't exist. Launching a texture powder without scent. I might have to fly to Japan. But we're making both custom. Second one was
that's awesome.
There's people in that space selling $10.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the crazy thing is that we're just gonna be chipping away at it. Whenever it comes, it comes. We're in this. It is what it is. If we need money for something, I had 6 employees, 6 contractors before I got let go. I had to put 5 of them on pause, and I kept one guy that was in Pakistan that came on board for no money because he believed in the mission and the purpose. And now we helped him with English speaking, give him some tips. He took some English testing. That's where he's at right now, UK, with working.
Wow.
The goal is to get to Florida.
Yeah.
Eddie, Mr. Eddie, mission, let's go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I remember you telling me about that, and you getting the story from the start, and then you got
it's like, yo. So in our discussions on WhatsApp, when he types to me, I say, Nazir, this is how you say this. This is how you type it. I'm going to correct you because you might be thinking a separate way and type it a different way.
Yeah.
You're out of this. That's how it is. But every time you type it to me, don't get offended. I'm going to type it back to you because I took public speaking in college.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it back to you as you should do it. So we talk every day. We'll FaceTime maybe once. I send him money here. Like, hey, Nazir, the goal, you'll be millionaire.
That's awesome.
Love
so,
that.
and purpose for him. Took on a project with nothing, no money.
Yeah.
Vision. And I'll tell people right now, when I sit down with people that take companies to 50 million that I've sat with before, and I got nothing, they come on board and be like, yo, I said, listen, I'm big. My dad taught me that. My dad almost fired me when I waited in line at the grocery store, almost fired me because I didn't come to work. He's like, listen, you have a commitment. Wow. Never gave up and started hitting timelines and stuff. Tell people, trust me, that when you make it, you're going to make it. You're going to. Because it's like you're at the top of the mountain, but people don't want to be.
Oh, they just want to be at the top.
They want the instant gratification.
They don't look at the mountain. They only look at the top. They
and
don't
that's
look
the
at
thing.
people's struggle.
I'm in a season right now where I have to be.
Yeah.
I'm in a season right now where like we were connected close. I can't be at that I got to be alone.
Yeah.
Because there's so many decisions, crucial decisions I have to make. And I have to be able to free the gigabytes in my brain to be able to make the right decisions. Or if some of them fail, I got to bounce up quick.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and people, sometimes it's hard to understand that piece where, okay, I'm in a season now where God's opening a door that, hey, it ain't meant for you to come with me to this door. I'm going ahead, laying some groundwork, everybody to come through. And it's hard for people to understand.
Part of the suffering process. I've said it quite a few times on this podcast that, you know, if something's worth it, you know, why not suffer for it? Why not struggle? You know, it's worth it.
I love pressure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I love pressure to the T.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's something where if I left Pennsylvania because I was okay. Bank, working, everything's moving. We got nice cars, a nice house. I told my wife, nah, we in a box here. She understood. She got money.
Money isn't everything.
It ain't about the cars.
You got to find purpose.
Right.
Just making money, because making a dollar, everybody's
right. But when
purpose, and it's evil. It's evil in my opinion.
When you get somebody that comes from nothing, my wife comes from nothing, 1 bedroom, 3 kids, living in the closet, basically, good. And you get some money, you're like, oh, we made it. So the perspective is different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We made it. We got money. Everything's good. No. I learned that I didn't make it when I got to Florida. When there's a guy that's 29 years old, we're at his house, he got a Lamborghini Aventador, yours in a $3.5 million house, is not 30 years old. You know what I said to myself?
Wow.
I got to hit the gas.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And this guy, I went to visit him because I wanted to do a podcast, and he has a studio behind Universal Studios. And he said, yo, come by the studio. He didn't know what I was. He knew who I was personally. He didn't know I owned the company. But I know a buddy of his that had a bunch of product, a hat and t-shirts and everything was in my. I went to visit this guy, and he has a Dash hat on and didn't know I'm the owner.
That's awesome.
I said, hey, what's the hat? He's like, oh, it's Dash. It's the product. I use this product on beer and everything. Who? I'm like, where you get it from? Like, this guy in Miami gave it. All right, I'm the owner. Yeah.
Wow.
So we talked about the podcast and stuff. He had an amazing studio. Now he's not there anymore. But you really understand that when I come back here now, and when you're here in the space, you measure yourself with what's here.
Yeah, no.
But when you get around people that are doing it, you're like, woof, I'm not doing it. So by me coming back home the last year and a half, I see people, I see potential, but they're measuring their potential on a lower scale. And that's, to me, that's depressing. So
that's why you got to get out there. Like
until you get out, and you know what? I love Lancaster County. It was a part of my life. My parents are here, but bigger than this, than any single borough. We're chasing the purpose where it's at, and we're going to continue to launch powders. I do have the hair gel launched it yet because I'm trying to focus on one. I got ideas for dating. Got women's ideas at all types of. We got a lot of stuff. It's a lifestyle brand, and so we're trying to. Apple is not a cell phone company.
A brand.
They're a lifestyle. You carry an iPhone.
I have an iPhone.
You carry an iPhone. People. When you get that blue bubble in a text, get a green bubble, you kind of.
Yeah. This is a green fucker right here.
Fucking right, I am.
And I'm not saying Android. I've used both phones. I've used them both.
Me too.
But the whole
I started
thing
BlackBerry, and then I went to Android, and I got Android X. Remember when Android X first came out? It was my first
Motorola
Android.
X. We're trying to create something that impacts people, guys and girls use the product too, that we affect parts of their life.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at, man.
That's awesome.
I found your story really inspirational. I learned a lot from you today.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of things like just from like the whole the first page on the cell phone thing like that. That's you know, it definitely makes me look at that a little bit different now. I want to.
The people on that first page, you're probably in contact. It could be mother, it could be girl's daughter, it could be your kid.
Well, thankfully on iPhone, you can make you put bubbles at the top for the most important.
Nobody
people.
cares about your iPhone.
I mean, you can only fit how many people up there though.
I have 6 up there. You can't put that many people up there, but and that even pushes your screen down a little more too. So it has its pros and cons with it. Get an iPhone then.
I don't want an iPhone.
That's why I can't text you all the time, because I don't get the blue bubble. I get some green bullshit.
If he's in a bad signal, Wi-Fi is not going to work.
Exactly. Yeah, Wi-Fi calling don't work. That shit don't work ever. I don't care. I have Xfinity. It does not work. I don't care whatever. I have to go upstairs and turn my Wi-Fi off to get a phone call. And shit. You know what I mean?
Guys, I do appreciate you bringing me up, Matt.
Pleasure's ours. Man.
I'm telling you right now,
seriously.
I wouldn't be where I'm at. Also, this is another key guy with Amazon and stuff. I've learned a lot from this guy. It's crazy how it turns around.
Yeah.
He be digging into my brain now.
I'm learning from him now.
Well, dude, that's how it is, right? Like, it's always better to have more than one opinion and experience, right? So like having just 4 of us even collaborate, we're going to learn a lot from each other.
Right.
And then we can follow up with each other and ask questions, because we're all in that same space, or we all have a little bit of knowledge in that space.
Yeah.
That's the best. Like when I work with my team, I don't consider myself an MVP. I want everything discussed. I want a unanimous vote. I don't like the majority vote. I think that's horse shit.
Yeah.
I think everything should be unanimous. That's why even when you and I have a conversation, or you and I have a conversation or anything, I'm like, follow up with Brian. Let's make sure Brian's good with everything. All of us have to say yay or nothing happens.
There's absolutely no leaders ever to walk this world that can make one decision and roll to an enormous amount of. It just doesn't work.
You need challenge.
You need challenge. You need people around you. You need people around you.
Yeah.
And me and Ross, an example, this guy had a marketing firm worth boatloads of cash. He sold it, went into the space of working, but we argue a lot.
Yeah.
The guy's way older than me. I got a fresher idea. Look.
Yeah.
But in about the next day or 20 minutes later, hey, what's going on, man? How your day go? But a lot of ideas and the way I want to go come out of those discussions. A lot of the times, hey, we're going down that route, bro.
Yeah.
He understands the vision and the purpose of the company. So we're going down that road right now. I wanted to cut out beer shampoo for a while, just to keep it on the shelf for a while because it's color. Like, no, I don't want to. I'm like, bro, I'm moving real fast, this and that. No. He's like, I'll pay for it. Let's go. I'm like, you don't have to pay. I'll bring it back on board. But that's just how it is. It got to bounce ideas. I'm not 100% correct all the time.
Right. Nobody is. That's the point.
I need people around me to tell me, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, what is it then?
Did you think of it in this manner? Oh, shit. I didn't think of it like that. Now that changes my opinion.
I don't get offended by that stuff.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah,
I don't get offended by anything. Criticism, constructive criticism, anything like that. That just makes me a better version of myself. You're challenging me to challenge myself.
I used to think where I had the right answers until about 4 or 5 years ago. And Ross had told me, gotta trust people with your vision. And it's tough because that vision was downloaded from me.
Yeah.
But if I can tell somebody what I'm looking for, they can kind of go that way. And then we can touch it up. And then, okay, it's close to what I need it. You know what I mean? So it's a real quick story. I went to Miami a couple months back to an event that I got invited to. I found a guy that records on Instagram video. I was like, hey, I'm coming to Miami. You want to record for us? Yeah. He only has 6 posts on Instagram, but I could see it. I could see his video. I took a buddy of mine's down. We drove down, and then the guy I'm like, yo, I'm outside. Where you at? He's like, oh, I'm out here. And my buddy's like, yo, you don't know who this guy is? I'm like, I've never seen him before. I found him on Instagram. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, Huncho and the kid. He got in the car with a rig that was brand, the camera and the lens. Yeah, I was like, hey, what's your name? My name's this. This is let's go eat. Well, let's go anywhere. I'm like, no, take me where you go. You live here, man. Went to eat. We went to the event, shake hands, gave a bunch of samples out. People know me, but they don't know me because I'm behind the scenes a lot. At the event, I'm like, man, this guy's not recording nothing. This video's going to bomb. We went to these high-end stores, took some B-roll and stuff like that. Monday comes. This was Sunday. I'm like, hey, where are you going to get the half hour? Logo, and we're ready to go. I sent it to him. And I said, I don't have to change it.
Wow. That's awesome.
Wow.
He's like, I don't have to. I told my wife, I don't have to change anything. I went out, I put it out. It's got 2,000 views. The company that had the event didn't put their video out as a recap 2 weeks later, 3 weeks. And the guy, he's like, yo, you put your video. I'm like, bro, we're trying to catch the wave. We're trying to get the hype of, I'm going to tag everybody I talk to in this video, and then they're going to share, then they're going to share, and they're going to share it, and we're going to put comments and make it go a little bit farther. And it's crazy. I told the guy, listen, you're the guy. Whenever I need videos in Miami, you're the guy. If somebody needs videos, you're the guy. So just stay alert. He works for a high-end watch company down there.
Awesome.
But what it is.
Connections, man. That's what I work from home, so I miss out on all those connections. So that's another purpose for this podcast. It's another thing. I wanted to meet people. Maybe I could help people. Maybe they could help me. It's all about that. Like, when I was younger, I just wanted my life to be happy. I wanted to be happy in my life. That was my purpose. It was just to be happy. And that's not my purpose anymore. My purpose now is to be helpful. I feel better and genuinely, better on the inside when I'm helpful and I see myself helping somebody.
Yeah.
And I don't need anything in return for that because I'm getting that in return.
Right.
However, I do believe in karma. So me doing that good thing for you, you're at least going to talk well about me to a friend.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I am going to get something in return.
Yeah.
It's going to be my name. My name is going to be good because my name isn't the best in my past. I'll have past. I want my name to be good, from this point forward until I die.
Right.
I mean, I'm a small fry, you know what I mean? I'm probably not going to make a huge impact on the world for everybody to remember my name or anything like that. But if I just have a couple of people that say, well, it was that one guy, Frank, that helped me out that one time, that made me think differently, that gave me this vision, and now look at where I am.
Right.
He's part of that. He's one of the top people on my scroll.
And that person you dropped that seed in could be way bigger than you ever will be.
Yep.
But you played a small little part.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
they'll be grateful for that.
Maybe someday they'll be talking about us on their podcast about how we helped them get to a certain place.
It's about trusting the people. It's about pouring into people. Think of the military.
Yeah.
Think of the Marines.
Always.
How many people go to boot camp?
Yep.
Hundreds. And instantly, them guys trust each other.
Yep.
And they go out to the field, don't know they're going to come back, but they're going to take care of their brother.
Yeah. Well,
they don't know each other.
I did wrestling. It was how it was. I don't want to get dropped on my head. I'm trusting you not to drop me on my head. You're trusting me not to break your neck.
It's camaraderie.
It's camaraderie. You know what I mean? And
yeah, when I was in the Army, I still have friends. I have a buddy that actually lives in Florida. His name's Andrew Barba. He's one of my best friends in the military of all time, and still to this day. Stay in contact. If I ever need to go there or he wants to come here, like my door's always open to that guy. I haven't seen him in 10 years, or more. So
well, I mean, if there's anything we could do for you,
dude,
let us know by all means. I mean,
our brand is called Dash for Him, spelled out completely DASHFORHIM on all social medias. We're on TikTok now. We're hitting TikTok heavy. Some people turned me on to TikTok. We open up TikTok. So it's I ask people, hey, listen, spread the word, share, heart,
subscribe.
If you're on YouTube, I'll have the links down in the description.
Yep. I'm a follower and I'm a believer, man. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming up here. It's up here.
We'll have to have it again.
It is.
We'll have to have it again.
Yeah.
I mean, just for like part 2, we'll call it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Heck yeah. We could do a part
1. There's I've made a barber probably over $1 million. I've mentored a lot of business. I've helped open up a vision shop. I've helped open up food.
Awesome.
Brothers in the palm business has 15 shops.
Wow.
Ohio and PA. So,
and what's crazy is I still have like 20 more questions. I can still have
time gets away from us, man, right away.
Yeah, we have that, but then we could have another episode even on top of it of him just talking business, talking basic business. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or what if we do a live one time with him here and people just message in and ask him business questions or some shit? You see what I'm saying? Imagine, like, I know that we do these videos and people, watch them and everything, and that's awesome. I want people to keep watching them, but I think it would be awesome to have some real-time questions and stuff coming, especially if you have somebody so knowledgeable. I mean, we have some knowledge, but not like our guests do.
Yeah,
like Dan,
exactly.
Him, they have knowledge in different areas that other people might be interested in, and they can ask questions and stuff. I don't know if you're not trying to put you out there like that, but if you're willing to do something like that or something. Dude, we're also here like, hey, this guy knows business. This guy has an amazing brand. He has a really good product. You obviously should listen to what he has to say and trust his word.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's passionate about everything. Like, so you help people out. I help people out too, but I am a little selective with the people that I help out. Like, they have to be passionate about their business, passionate about their passion. You know what I'm saying? It can't just be like, oh man, well, I want to make money. And I know I read online or ChatGPT told me I could make money really quick by doing this. So help me do this. No. You're just going to do it haphazardly to make money.
Right.
Yeah.
I want you to have passion. Well, what's your vision in this? Oh, well, my vision is to do this and this, to try to give back, to do this, to do that. Now that's different. That's passion. I'm passionate.
I'm helping a guy now, the one that let me his salon for free. he hit me up maybe 8 months ago. Was like, hey, I want to launch your product. How much I got to pay you to help me?
Yep, that's how I am. Exactly how I am.
So he's like, why? I was like, because you lent me your place for nothing.
Yep.
2019.
Yep.
I said, but what I need from you is the course. If I tell you to do this task, you do it. It's a women's line. He's the different product for women.
Right.
And I said, I'll connect you with the right people and ask these specific questions and come back to me and we'll talk and we'll continue to go. 15 grand in, invested already.
Oh, wow. Let's go.
One product.
Let's go.
So we were supposed to launch Black Friday for him and I was supposed to fly up. He's like, yo, I'm going to fly you up. I'm like, you don't. I'm going to pay. No, you don't. Coming up. Because when I'm there sitting, watching you talk about your product, payment, let me put that in your pocket, bop.
Yep.
So we had a delay because of glass bottles and all this other logistical stuff, but he's eventually going to launch.
I hope he does well. I hope he does well.
Yeah. All right, Eddie, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys. Bring me up. I'll have to go back up.
That'd be great.
Whenever. Just let us
clear the whole day out if you want a whole day. We can just chat all day. Split up in like 50 episodes.
So live life with purpose, man.
Yep.
It's very simple.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The simplest things make a huge impact. And appreciate the podcast and
thank you very much.
Yes.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Cool.
See you later.
Bye-bye.